I don't do supplements because I think nature has everything we need, and I think that vitamin companies are just basically lying. Not that I'm into conspiracies, but for example, what I've got here is, some of you might have seen on Instagram, grandmother's fire cider tonic vibe going on, and a mushroom. So I'm going to talk about like my tips and tricks for how I beat the cold and stay healthy in the winter months, and how I believe that nature has everything we need. So like, let me start with this. Actually, I'll start with a story. The onion. When I was living in the jungle, back in the day, I obviously had been doing lots of drugs, for those that have been following, and my body was in bits, and I kept getting really bad cold and flu all the time, like shivers. So I went to the local witch, of course, is what you do, and she basically blew some smoke around me, and she said, "Menina, like my child, you need to cut onions in your socks, and you need to put them in your socks in like cotton or alpaca socks, and you need to sleep with them on. And what it will do is like draw out the toxins from your feet." So I'd put one onion in here and one onion in here, and like just sleep with them on, and it was like gross, and it stunk, and it feels really weird, but it worked. And actually, when we kind of dissected it, she said, like, you know, onions are amazing. People use them when they've painted a house to suck the smell in. And like, you should never have an onion cut in your fridge because it just takes up all the bacteria. So, because it's a draw, it like draws things out. So that is what I do when I'm like really fucking ill. I'll like do the sock thing. And I always think of that witch, and just like how one simple onion can just like basically help you heal your body from deep abuse for years and years. I'm not making that disclaimer, but that's what worked for me. So yep, the onion. Okay. And then, I mean, there's so many things that are good, like, oh my God, like nettles, all these things, but I'm going more into like hardcore boosters. This is what I'm talking about. So what I've got here is turkey tail mushroom. So like, actually at the minute, we're coming out of mushroom season, but like turkey tail. So all the time I'm getting companies be like, promote my mushroom brand. And to be honest, I'm like, no, bruv, I'll go and find my own. So these little babies are amazing. And the reason why supplements on mushrooms and mushroom supplements or tinctures and things like that are so expensive is because the process for them is quite hard to extract like the goodness and things. So what I do is like seep them in tea. You can turn them into tinctures, but to be honest, like I try and avoid alcohol, probably because of my addiction background, and also I always just don't like the taste of alcohol really. So if I don't want that in my body, I'm not going to do it. So I'll like brew these in a tea for extra vitamin boosts and like minerals and antioxidants, and they're just amazing. And the mushroom world is like a world within itself, but you should know what mushrooms to pick, just saying. That is important. But you can get one of them mushroom apps, and for me, again, when I started foraging for mushrooms, I'm still such a beginner, to be honest. Like there's so many mushrooms, but I'll like find one mushroom and I'll like really study it, really learn about the properties, ask around how people use it. And yeah, like a mushroom tea of turkey tail, like great. This beast, absolute fucking beast. Look at it, looks like a pasty. This is birch polypore, again, amazing for you. You wouldn't want to have it all the time, but to give you a little bit of a boost and your immune system a boost, amazing. It grows on birch tree, and you can see it's like, can you see the white underneath? And what I would do is like, what I'm going to do actually, is like slice it really, really, really thinly, and then put it on a mesh tray over the fire and dry it out. But I wanted to show you what it looks like in its natural format. And then I would probably have that like once a month, or when I start to feel really run down, and it's just so good for you. So that also helps build your immune system up and keeps health at bay. And yeah, again, just to clarify, I wouldn't have it all the time, like, because sometimes they're so potent, these things, that you don't need them all the time. So that's like the onion, the mushrooms, oregano oil, antibacterial, antiviral, antiseptic, basically everything. It's really good for the flu. As soon as I feel like a tickle or something coming on, drop a few things. Pretty intense, to be honest, the taste of this. This is like in this one, for example, it's just organic olive oil and oregano that's been infused with it, and it's amazing. So yeah, I use that as well, and that's my go-to. I think that there's so many products out there that are like, oh, this will stop your cold and this and that. And I actually think it's quite good for our bodies to get colds and things sometimes, because our body, well, I mean, I could really get into it. I think when you get a cold or the flu, your body is telling you something. And it usually happens when the seasons change. And for me, it's a reminder to slow down. The body's like, hold up, chill the fuck out, and just take a hot minute and like actually to rest. And I know we live in a modern world and it's not that easy to rest all the time, but when you can use nature's, like the mushrooms, the onions, the oregano, the fire cider, like lemon and ginger obviously is a great one. I also sometimes get like rosemary and sage and put it in a steam and then put my head over to like really clear out the airwaves. That's an amazing one. And it's all these things. I don't do supplements. Like, I'm really kind of against supplements, because I think if it's outsourcing our health, like I really try and get my own. Sometimes if I've like really run down, I will take probiotics, and that's kind of the only one that I would consistently take. But I'm really against, like, you know, the, what are they called, like daily vitamin capsules. If you really look at the ingredients, most of them are full of like emulsifiers and like agents and all this kind of stuff, and it is a massive market to sell you and like basically rinse all your money, when you can just use an onion, some oregano, and find a mushroom, or make this beast. You know, as the seasons change, more plants come out. You know, like mushrooms come out just as the seasons change. Like, it's a kind of indicator of like, that's what we should be taking. Like when autumn is here, I'm taking elderberry, I'm taking hawthorn, these kind of things that are really good for grief, high vitamin C, all of these things that are preparing us for the darker months. And yeah, basically. But to be honest, this is where it's at. This is my grandma's recipe of like fire cider, and I'm going to show you exactly what's in it because so many of you asked. So this potion gets a lot of hype because it's so epic, and it's like my Nans, which also is even more epic. For those that don't know, she was a homeopathic nurse in World War II, plant-based for like over 60 years, and like an absolute G. And this is, I have a teaspoon of this every day. Sometimes I'll just put a teaspoon in or like a tablespoon in and boil water and have it as like a tea. And what it does, it's really good for your microbiome. It's really good for building your immune system. Like all of these things I'm talking about is immune system boosters that can really help us protect against kind of colds and things like that. It's an ancient remedy actually, and you would have seen lots probably on social media, but I'm going to kind of run through what is in this. Whew. I'm actually going to taste a little bit so you can see how intense it is. So many bits in it. I'm just going to... Jesus, so many bits. I don't want to eat a mustard seed. Okay. To be honest, it's actually not that intense. I mean, it's intense. I'm drinking vinegar, but like, it's not as intense as you'd imagined. Whew. It's punchy and... It's it's full power. That same witch told me you should never say medicine is disgusting or anything like that, because it's like, you should always talk kindly to the medicine. So although it's pretty full on, it's great. So how you start is with a, it's also a really great present to give to people, like make loads of it and give it to people. So how you start is with apple cider vinegar, but you need to make sure you've got the mother in it, because when you have the mother in it, that's kind of what kind of helps it ferment and preserve it all. So in here, I have ginger, lemon, I have the juice of one orange, I have onions, mustard seeds, juniper berries, cloves. What else? I've got sage, I think I've got thyme. Oh yeah, there's a clove. Garlic, chili. I've got echinacea root in here as well. I've got orange juice in here. And I think that's it, to be honest. But I'm gonna write the list in the caption so you can kind of see. And this has been brewing for about 6 weeks. And then what I do is like take it out, filter it, and then just kind of drink it like so. But it's just so beautiful. And it's just like, I just think like, I don't know, I think my nan's been drinking this same medicine for years. She's like 99 and fucking a vibe. And if it's keeping her well, then I guess it can keep you well too. And you want to store it in a dark place, a cold, dark place. So it's just been kind of under there. And I recommend everyone trying to make a fire starter tonic. It's just like so easy. You just throw it all in, cut the bits up, pour the apple cider vinegar in and just leave it, you know. And it's a staple in the pantry for staying healthy. Also with this, you can kind of get adventurous too, like adding things that you like. Some people put a horseradish root in there or horseradish itself, you know. There's like all these kind of things that you can add in. Nettles you could put in there. And I also think something is like quite witchy. It's quite a witchy thing to do. And like when I kind of cold and flu season, I like have lots of teas. I make sure I drink lots of water. And I really do think cold and flus and illnesses are a real indication to rest. Like the body is so intelligent. It's like telling us to just be like, slow down. And getting creative and like making herbal concoctions, I think, you know, to boost your immune system and to keep you nice and healthy. Plants have everything we need, so do the seasons. You've just got to get to know them and get a bit creative with them. So with the birch polypore, what I'm doing is very thinly, you can see, kind of like so, kind of cutting it. One, because it makes it easier to dry, and also then you have loads of it. So you can have it for medicine for the whole year round once it's dried out, and you can gift it to people. I always had this thing with the mushrooms as well, was like, when you find the mushroom gods are gifting you. And that, yeah, like if you don't find them, you're like, I'm really looking for this mushroom, which I've spent many a time doing. It's like, the mushroom gods just aren't on your side today. Mental. Like a little moustache. Like mushrooms are amazing, there's no doubt about it. So once I've cut this all up, I'm going to dry it over the fire till it's completely dry, and then I'll have it for tea. And the amazing thing about birch polypore, the taste is actually very bitter, but it's antibacterial, antiviral. It's really good if you've kind of got infections and stuff like that, and it's an absolute immune booster. And I just think like how amazing that this one mushroom is going to serve me for like months, to be honest, and it's going to really boost. And anytime I get super sick, this is my friend. And if you don't have a fire, like the thing is about a boat, it's quite damp. I mean, I've mentioned that before. It can be quite damp, so it gets really hot, but as soon as the fire's off, it gets cold. Whereas I think if you live in a house, all you need, you can get them really cheaply, but like mesh kind of rack dryers, and just kind of leave it in a warm house. But as long as it's like consistently the same temperature, because the thing about mushrooms is they are a fungi, so you kind of just want to make them consistently dried out so that they keep for a really long time. It takes above the fire probably like 24 hours, to be honest, when that fire's raging. But I mean, if you're not doing it by a fire, it probably take a few days for sure, but you want to make sure it's really dry. But I mean, it's like, it's just so amazing. So I found this mushroom on a birch tree that had actually fallen over, and mushroom seems to love birch trees. And also I found it in Devon. I was visiting a friend and we were walking and she was like, look at this. And then I was like, the mushroom gods had gifted us their bounty. So it was like really near a lake. You usually find that mushrooms, good mushrooms, you will find good mushrooms never really just on the floor, and they're always kind of not like in very moist areas. If you want to, before I brought a dehydrator, I don't have one anymore, but you can use the oven. So you put it on really, really low and you keep the door open. And again, you put it on kind of like a mesh, something that's like risen, so it's not going to go soggy underneath, and you can dry it out like that. And you want to make sure it's really dry before you store it, and then you steep it in a tea. You would never eat this mushroom. You wouldn't eat it. It's actually just medicinal. So it's like only for medicine and only in teas, is what I'm saying. Enjoy.